If you are looking for some easy, inexpensive ways to shave some weight out of your backpacking kit and make life significantly more comfortable for yourself out on trail when you're on a backpacking trip, this one is for you. Welcome back, guys and gals. Matty back again. And like I was saying, today we are talking some inexpensive, easy ways to shave weight out of your backpacking kit, get those pounds off your back, and make life more comfortable for yourself out on trail when you're on a backpacking trip. And at the end of this video, when we are done talking about the tips we are going to go over today, I'm also going to put a link to a playlist that I've made full of a whole bunch of other weight-saving backpacking tips and tricks videos and weight-saving backpacking gear videos. So if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, stick around till the end of the video. Like I said, I will link that one at the end. But let's dive into the tips we're going to talk about today. And the first inexpensive tip that we are going to talk about today has to do with this guy right here. Now this is just a simple Ziploc freezer bag, one of the medium-sized ones. Now grabbing yourself a pack of Ziploc freezer bags can help you save a ton of weight and actually a bunch of bulk in your backpacking kit over the long haul. There are so many different applications you can use for Ziploc freezer bags. They are nearly endless. In my backpacking kit, I have pretty much replaced all of my stuff sacks with Ziploc freezer bags. In most cases, they're going to end up being lighter, but there's also other advantages to using Ziploc freezer bags over traditional sil nylon or sil poly or even Dyneema stuff sacks. Now let's talk about that a little bit. So here we have a plain, simple sil stuff sack. This is actually a hammock gear stuff sack. I think I had a tarp come in this one, but on this side here, this is a Ziploc freezer bag that I use to carry my first aid kit. Now for obvious reasons, having a see-through waterproof stuff sack like a simple Ziploc freezer bag, which actually weighs the exact same as this hammock gear stuff sack, and they're actually the same size. The Ziploc freezer bag is see-through. I don't have to hunt through this to find out what's inside my first aid kit or find where stuff is in my first aid kit. I can literally see right through it, and I'm not really digging all that long. Now for the application of a first aid kit, I think that is extremely beneficial because when you need a first aid kit, the last thing you're going to want to do is hunt through it and try and find what you're looking for. This makes it far easier to find what you're looking for. Next advantage of the Ziploc freezer bag is it's also waterproof. So I know that all the stuff inside my first aid kit is going to stay dry if anything ever happens. Now I do always have my first aid kit inside my pack in the pack liner, so just another added layer of protection. Another useful way to add Ziploc freezer bags to your backpacking kit to help yourself save some weight is actually with your food. Now I don't often buy the pre-packaged rehydrated meals, but every now and then I do pick some up. They are handy to have, but before I go on a backpacking trip, I always repackage these into a Ziploc freezer bag, simply because Ziploc freezer bags are designed to handle boiling water. So I do all my rehydrating inside the Ziploc freezer bag. And what I do, I'll look at the back of the pre-packaged rehydrated meal and I find out how much water I need to add to the meal to rehydrate it. I write it down on the little white tab here on the Ziploc freezer bag. That way I know how much water to add to my meal when I'm rehydrating it. And on top of saving weight, when you repackage your dehydrated meals in a Ziploc freezer bag, they pack down smaller and they take up significantly less space inside your food bag, which is going to lower the bulk inside your pack, which is also another benefit of using Ziploc freezer bags in your backpacking kit. Now the second tip we're going to talk about today is actually a bonus for you guys and gals, because this one is actually free. And this free tip is not only going to help you save weight, it's also going to help you save bulk inside your pack. And it's got to do with this stuff right here. This here is a full extra set of clothes that could go in your backpack on a backpacking trip. Over the years, I have ran into so many people out on trail that insist on carrying a full extra change of clothes out with them on a backpacking trip. And a very easy way to lower weight in your backpack on a backpacking trip is simply not carrying a full extra set of clothes in your backpack. And when I say that, I'm not saying don't carry any extra clothes. I do always suggest carrying at least one extra pair of socks, and I do suggest carrying a pair of clothes to sleep in and just something a little more comfortable to slip into at the end of the day when you're crawling into bed. But carrying a full extra change of clothes out with you on a backpacking trip, completely unnecessary. Get rid of it. Ditching your extra shirt, ditching your extra pair of pants, you know, ditching that fourth or fifth pair of extra socks. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I have been guilty of not carrying extra underwear with me out on a 4-day backpacking trip. I can guarantee you guys, when you guys are out there, there is not a single person out there in the world that is gonna care how bad you smell out there on a backpacking trip. You're just gonna be getting up the next day, you're gonna be hiking, you're gonna be sweating. All you're gonna be doing is just carrying dirty clothes in your backpack, which at the end of the day is completely unnecessary. And like I showed with that massive handful of clothes, it eats up a bunch of bulk in your backpack as well. So something to consider is possibly looking at your clothing system and finding ways that you can just simply carry less clothing out there on a backpacking trip and get rid of stuff that you really don't need to carry. Now this next tip you guys may not necessarily notice on the scales when you're weighing out your gear prior to a backpacking trip, but over the course of a backpacking trip, this is definitely going to help you guys out, and it's going to lower the weight that you're going to be consistently carrying day after day after day on these multi-day backpacking trips. And no, the tip is not to cut your towel down to a ridiculously small square like this. The tip is to simply get the most out of this when you're carrying it out there on a backpacking trip. And having a small pack towel like this and using it to wipe off all the dew and condensation from your rain fly or your tarp or whatever you're using for your shelter system can significantly help reduce the amount of water weight that you're carrying in your backpack. And I don't think enough people talk about that, and I don't think enough people really take into consideration how much weight you're actually adding to your pack carrying a wet tarp or carrying a wet rain fly or carrying any gear that's got any kind of moisture in it. Every morning when I get up on trail, if it's practical to do so, I like to hang my quilts up, both my top quilt and my under quilt from my hammock. I like to hang them up to let them air out, let as much moisture get out of them as I can so that I'm not packing that moisture and packing that extra unnecessary weight in my backpack. And while those are airing out, I also take my little absorbent microfiber towel and I make sure I wipe all the dew and condensation off of my tarp in the morning to help myself eliminate the unnecessary weight of carrying that extra water and moisture in my backpack. I hope you guys are enjoying these tips, and like I said, I was going to pop up over here a playlist full of weight-saving backpacking tips for you guys. So this one is done. I suggest you guys head on over there, find a video in that playlist. And as always, guys, I am Matty. Thank you guys so dang much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.